I used to reside at the Sunset Marquee whenever I got divorced, which was rather common. How many times did you live there? 3 or 4 times is a lot of times. Billy Bob Thornton's story starts far from the bright lights of Hollywood. He was born on August 4, 1955 in Hot Springs, Arkansas. Soon enough, he would begin to land himself in small acting roles and eventually become one of Hollywood's most recognizable icons, and along that journey came 5 different marriages, most notably the highly controversial Angelina Jolie. But before we get to the reason why the famous couple broke up, we have to know some backstory first. Billy has long been noted for his raw talent, quirky nature, and naturally the relationships that kept Hollywood chattering. Because Thornton has walked down the aisle 6 times, his love life has been endlessly examined, yet one union in particular, his whirlwind pairing with Angelina Jolie, drew the brightest spotlight. When both sat at the heights of their careers, their surprise offbeat wedding fascinated the press, but only 3 years later the whole affair collapsed. Now, after many seasons have rolled by, Billy Bob is finally revealing the real motive behind the split with Angelina. Join us as we decode Thornton's private world and uncover the facts about what happened. Early struggles and modest beginnings. The future star arrived in Hot Springs, Arkansas on August 4, 1955. He came from humble beginnings in a small shack without power or plumbing, which gave him the resilience and fierce ambition he needed to pursue bigger dreams. He even tried out for the Kansas City Royals, but a serious injury crushed that dream and made him reevaluate his course. Nevertheless, the grit from that plain shack later powered every bold step he took, leading him toward acting, writing, and lasting fame. Despite the fact that baseball's gate had closed too soon, things would soon change for him in Hollywood, though, as he began to appear in more significant roles, and with that came more than 5 complicated marriages, all of which ended in a way that shaped his lifelong relationship with Aunt Angelina Jolie. The beginning of Thornton's convoluted romantic history is Melissa Lee Gatlin, who married the young actor in 1978. Their marriage was the most well-known public truth about their life together, but it also set off a trend of tumultuous relationship. Thornton's first taste of fatherhood came in June 1979 at the birth of a daughter named Amanda. Nevertheless, their marriage was short-lived. By 1980, Melissa filed for divorce on the grounds of incompatibility and claimed infidelity. As a result, Amanda grew up primarily with her mother, distant from her well-known father. Years later, in 2008, a friend's 1-year-old daughter passed away while in Amanda's custody, leading to accusations against her and a 20-year sentence that made headlines. After a fierce battle by attorneys supported by the Innocence Project, who maintained that it was an accident until fresh information emerged, Amanda was eventually released in 2020 and allowed to resume her life outside of jail. Thornton seldom discusses the traumatic period in his family's past in public. After splitting from Melissa, he quickly fell in love with actress Toni Lawrence. The two exchanged vows in 1986 and registered their second marriage. Toni, who was well known to cult moviegoers from Soul Survivor and Daddy's Deadly Darling, seemed like the ideal partner for the budding storyteller, but everyday life turned out to be more difficult than Hollywood fantasies. After 2 short years of conflict caused by misaligned work schedules and the absence of children, a divorce petition claiming irreconcilable differences was filed. Although their union was short-lived, its reverberations persisted, teaching Thornton that talent alone cannot stabilize a marriage built on uneven ground. Thornton even acknowledged that the match had been rushed, driven by chemistry rather than mutually thoughtful, truly deliberate compatibility. Years later, Toni called Billy Bob brilliant but tormented, remarrying, settling quietly in Los Angeles, and shaping porcelain as a studio potter. Thornton met actress Cinda Williams during the making of the taut thriller One False Move, a movie he co-wrote in Chicago, and they were partnered for his 3rd wedding. Spike Lee's Mo Better Blues had already made Williams famous, and their friendship seemed effortless at first, but their genuine romance hardly lasted. Thornton subsequently made a joke about how they were friends who accidentally entered a wedding chapel. They were married in 1990 and separated amicably in 1992, acknowledging that there was no spark between them. Williams later wed producer Roderick Playmuber and now posts bright family snapshots online as evidence that they both went on happily. In 1993, Thornton entered a more difficult phase of his life when he exchanged vows with Playboy model Petra Dawn Cherniak. Their union was quickly marred by shocking allegations of violence and court-ordered limits. Thornton's 4th marriage would be plagued by years of intense media attention, demonstrating how quickly Hollywood's gossip machine can turn love into drama and leave a lasting mark on a star's personal life. Playboy model Petra Dawn Chernia proved to be the stormiest. They were married in 1993 and had 2 boys, William and Harry, within 11 months of each other's births. However, behind closed doors, tension brewed in 1997 when Cherniak filed for divorce and simultaneously sought a restraining order, alleging Thornton had slapped, punched, and shoved her, sometimes in front of the children. Court documents detailed bruises and nights spent hiding in bathrooms, and reporters gorged on every accusation, splashing headlines across entertainment columns. Thornton issued a statement refuting all of the accusations, saying, "Our marriage was far from perfect," but he admitted, "But I never behaved as she described." Regardless of the facts, he expressed his utmost concern for the boys, believing that public mudslinging would scare them the most. The accusations continued to damage his reputation and feed tabloids that already followed the actor's every move, escalating the chaos in what earlier appeared like eternally Billy's storybook domesticity. Bob's 5th and most notorious marriage to Angelina Jolie was a romance that nobody saw coming but that everyone spoke about nonstop when they met on the 1999 aviation comedy Pushing Tin. Both of them were previously married. In future dreams, Thornton and actress Laura Dern shared a house. Even though Jolie had just finalized her divorce from Johnny Lee Miller, their chemistry sprang practically immediately. Only a few months after meeting the couple in Las Vegas, Thornton abruptly packed his things, left Dern, and plunged into Jolie's orbit in May 2000. The ceremony was surprisingly informal. When journalists saw that the couple was wearing vials of each other's blood as necklaces, a makeup symbol that crystallized their fierce unconventional passion, they became even more fascinated. Jolie wore jeans, pulled her hair back, and avoided the opulent Hollywood trimmings that were part of the low-key wedding. Dern, in particular, later observed that she returned from a shoot to find her fiancé married. Although Thornton and Jolie may have appeared strange to onlookers, they were fiercely dedicated to one another behind the scenes. They bought a sprawling Beverly Hills estate that had once belonged to Guns N' Roses guitarist Slash. It had 9 bedrooms, a professional recording studio, a candlelit pool, and walls thick enough to muffle midnight guitar riffs. However, the couple barely unpacked. One month they were in Canada, the next they were shaking hands at refugee camps, and then they were flying to Europe for glitzy photo shoots. Their public chemistry was even more intense on the red carpet for the June 2000 premiere of Gone in 60 Seconds, when flashbulbs caught them clutching, whispering, and kissing so hard they smudged each other's makeup. Porters gasped, bodyguards cleared the space tabloids, and later that night, an MTV host asked them what the craziest thing they had done all day. Expecting a mild response, Thornton simply laughed and said they had done it in the limo on the ride over, describing the small back seat like it was the honeymoon suite. One spontaneous confession made headlines from Los Angeles to London, and rumors spread like wildfire. Friends claimed that the couple traded underwear for amusement, that the mansion concealed a soundproof love room with cushions from wall to wall, and that during midnight rituals, they lit whole constellations of candles. Thornton felt compelled to clarify a few rumors. When news outlets revealed in July 2001 that the newlyweds were lockets filled with tiny drops of each other's blood, the hysteria peaked, and news outlets spun wild pictures of them strutting Sunset Boulevard with jars of red fluid dangling from chains. Yes, he admitted that he once wore Angelina's red silk panties at the gym because he had no clean shorts, but it was a one-time gag rather than a daily habit. By December, their vial of blood necklaces and unrelenting PDA had sealed their fame. Half shocking spectacle, half raw devotion, and it was hard for the world to ignore. Thornton later clarified that they had simply pricked their fingers, dabbed a charm, and snapped it shut, nothing gory, but the legend only served to highlight how fiery, unusual, and passionate their love was compared to any Hollywood romance to date. By March 2002, the couple intended to grow their family through adoption. Jolie had fallen in love with 7-month-old Maddox, a Cambodian orphan, and had registered their names as parents together with Thornton. However, as their marriage soured, their plans swiftly changed. When the media inquired about Billy Bob's whereabouts, Jolie explained that he had made the decision not to move forward and that she would complete the adoption as a single mother rather than by herself. Thornton met makeup effects artist Connie England in 2002 while filming Bad Santa, but they decided to be patient instead of impulsive. They both remembered how his relationship with Jolie had been ruined by the harsh spotlight glare, so they dated discreetly for 12 years, with hardly any interviews mentioning her. In 2008, Thornton even told Maxim that he didn't want to become the sixth Anglo wife because the constant tabloid headlines would eventually follow them. For a man who once displayed passion with blood vials, this small backyard wedding marked a significant shift, demonstrating that serenity rather than spectacle had become the compass of his romantic journey. On that calm afternoon, Thornton and England say that what keeps them steady is how perfectly their temperaments mesh after the hectic Jolie era. In October 2014, privacy felt more important than postponement, and they held a small ceremony in their Los Angeles front yard. Only a minister, a few family members, and a few dogs witnessed vows. In a 2016 GQ chat, he laughed and said, "Connie's more my speed." He finds Connie's calmness appealing. Billy, a self-described homebody, feels uncomfortable with people who move around a lot. Bob is grateful that Connie enjoys quiet evenings as well. Their daughter Bella is homeschooled because kindergarten means even more time spent with family. England continues to work as a makeup artist and effects artist for popular films like Men in Black and Planet of the Apes, but she avoids the red carpet glare. Thornton frequently thanks her for embracing his eccentric side while Jolie traveled to summit meetings. Their house even boasts a recording studio so he can cut tracks without leaving, Connie once remarked, indicating that he was happy to mess around at home. On Jimmy Kimmel Live, he gave Connie credit for the additional evidence that their lives center on quieter, more subdued rhythms that he really enjoys after previous high-profile marriage that went beyond their shared calm. Being a parent once more changed Thornton's daily routine. He says that Bella's ferocious attitude keeps him going, whether she's teaching him or blasting Taylor Swift. Bella arrived in 2004, decades after his older children, so he had to relearn diaper skills and children's music. TikTok dances. After 12 years together, Bella began asking why mommy and daddy were not married. That question nudged the pair toward vows in 2014 held under their sycamore tree with only family, friends, and dogs watching, Thornton later told James Corden. The ceremony lasted minutes, but Bella's grin lasted days. The actor now juggles movies, music, and series work with school projects and pancake mornings. Public outings remain rare. Still, he and Connie did step onto the gray carpet for Netflix thriller The Greyman in 2022. Fans noticed calm smiles, proof that finally Thornton's love life feels settled and steady, and that in the end was the secret pulse of Billy Bob Thornton and Angelina Jolie's whirlwind, an affair too fiery to last yet too hypnotic to ignore. Their love blazed through red carpets and front pages, etched itself into pop culture folklore, and then vanished almost as fast as it appeared. Even decades later, their saga keeps echoing, proof that raw passion can topple careful plans, redraw futures, and leave every bystander gasping for air. But the story doesn't end when the credits roll. It lives on in the questions we keep asking. What truly makes a romance unforgettable? Is it the reckless electricity of two rebels colliding, or the quiet, steady bond that holds long after the flashbulbs dim? Could it be some wild mix of both? Fire at first sight, Ember for life. Tell us what you think down in the comments. Hit that like button, ring the notification bell, and stay tuned because the next jaw-dropping chapter of Hollywood's untamed love stories is coming sooner than you